So she said, no. And she kept the ring.
No way.
That's the shittiest
No
part.
mames, dude. What the heck?
Yeah.
How does she keep the ring? She said no.
She said no, but thank you.
No. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Another Monday. We're being welcomed by
Edgar Ponce.
Yeah, dude, thanks for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on. And for those who don't know, can you give a brief explanation of who you are and where you work?
So, a little bit of what I do is social work. So a lot of people neglect their kids. They don't do much to be there for them. There's a lot of aspects to it, whether it's physical abuse, severe neglect, emotional abuse, or sadly, sometimes, it develops more into domestic violence or drug addictions.
Dude, I think that's a really important job to have. A lot of people might not see it as a important job or, I want to be a social worker. But a lot of these kids growing up in these situations, at the end of the day, their hands are on you guys. So you guys are I guess the backbone of creating that foundation for those kids. But, dude, I appreciate that. If I was a foster kid, I would want someone, especially you, to take care of me. But, dude, on another note, I want to touch on your upbringing. How was it growing up? And how did you lead to where you are now today?
If I recall correctly, I believe at the age of 1.5 or close to 2, then we moved to North Hollywood. So it wasn't the best.
And what exactly was going on that didn't make those conditions in North Hollywood the best?
Well, I mean,
what was happening?
What was happening at the moment was a lot. There was a lot of poverty. It still continues to be one of the middle class or lower class areas, but at that time it was mainly gangs. There's a lot of youngsters that were just, focused on graffiti or getting jumped into a local gang.
Yeah.
So for me,
did you ever get a pursuit to be in one of these gangs, or were they trying to ease you in?
So fortunately, no.
No? Okay.
But I did come into contact with the neighbor who his brother was part of a local gang and actually got shot and killed.
Gee, what was the scenario?
So he opened up with me and he said, you know what? My brother just got killed certain years ago. He was a gang member.
Can you say the certain gang? I'm not sure if you want to.
So it's one of the ones that are still going on still to this day. They go by Radford Street.
Okay.
So that was one of the gangs that were literally 2 to 3 little streets away. And so my parents would always tell me, I know you want to go grab some chips or something in the local liquor, but do not go out at a certain time because of how bad it was. So back to that, this is where he conveyed and said, hey, this is the unfortunate side. I did have an older brother, but because he was in the wrong place or being jumped into this gang, he's no longer with us.
Yeah.
So I think at that moment, that's what opened up my eyes that clearly I don't want to go through that.
Yeah.
So,
and as far as drive-bys, did you ever experience that? And what was the experience with the drive-by?
So we did experience one really bad drive-by. They actually saw one of the, I don't know if he was an ex-gang member or still current one, but he was visiting over one of the neighbors, and he happened to go out to smoke a cigarette, and he was actually sitting in the porch of the front neighbors. Mind you, I live in the back. So as he was smoking his cigarette, someone just, kind of drove by, made eye contact with him. The minute they go around the block, they loaded their guns, and then that was it. The drive-by started happening. Yeah, the gunshots start going on. Everyone drops to the floor, starts panicking, and you just hear people running.
What year is this approximately?
I don't recall, but if I can pinpoint an age, I would say possibly in my teens. I'll just leave it like that.
12, 13, 14.
Possibly.
How scared were you in that moment? I feel like if someone starts shooting right here through the window, I'm probably my heart's going to start beating quick. I'm going to get down and I don't know what I'll do. Probably get on top of you and my girlfriend and be like, shield you guys. I don't know. But what exactly do you feel in that moment?
I mean, you feel lost because you're not used to this, right? You're used to just being at ease, being with your family, and then the minute you feel you hear chaos, you feel the desperate need to just safeguard you and your family.
Mm-hmm.
So all I can remember was just like drop to the floor and just give it some time. But the minute we heard someone run and someone else, we thought this was going to continue. But later we learned that this guy survived.
Luckily, he survived.
He survived. So we had detectives come over. They closed the street. LAPD gets involved. One of the bullets actually reached our side kitchen window.
No way. Do you guys have that hole? Do you guys still have that hole?
No, we don't. So
as like a souvenir, I guess.
No. So it's been patched up already, and what was a miracle was the front neighbors. They're an elderly couple who were watching TV, I recall, if I'm not mistaken. No, they're actually, the husband is very into soccer. So if I recall, it was during like Copa America or something of the Mundial. And so literally he expressed this to us, that he was so into what was on TV. And so the minute that he was about to shift his head over to the other side, something told him to shift the other way.
It grazed his head.
So if he wouldn't have listened to his instinct, he would have been shot in the back of his head.
No freaking way, dude.
So he manages to tilt his head to the other side, and he just heard a bullet fly by. Pew! And
hit the brick wall, whatever.
No, it popped his TV.
No.
It landed on his TV.
It hit his TV.
And that was the end of his
No more Mundial.
No more Mundial. And that was it. So LAPD gets involved. There we go with officers, with detectives. The guy that had gotten shot up was actually sitting in their porch, smoking a cigarette, and tried to flee once he got hit. He actually... He got hit. I don't recall if it was like his ear or the shoulder, but he left blood marks on the
floor,
and the vehicles of these people.
Damn. Dude.
And so, yeah, anyways, this is where I literally said, thank God I'm not involved in any type of deviant behaviors, or this is not the way I want to grow up, So my parents panicked. Obviously, the front neighbors panicked even more. I'm not going to lie to you. They lasted about 10 years with putting metal plates on their window. Because they were so paranoid.
Because of the husband, right?
Correct.
Dude.
So that's what I'll say on that drive-by situation. Yeah. Thankfully, after that, nothing else developed. But we were so paranoid because we thought that something else would happen.
Yeah.
Or maybe they would retaliate. They would just go look and see who was the person who ended up doing the drive-by. But going back to this friend, we became really good friends that was about middle school all the way to like the end of high school. But one thing I'll remember to this day, his mom told me, please take him to church. I know you're such a good boy.
Yeah, you go to church a lot, right? Every Sunday.
Every Sunday. And I just feel devoted to God, to serving. It's just blessings. I take it as every time you go, you're kind of like a magnet. You're just obtaining and retaining all that more good energy, and just more blessings will come to you. So this lady saw me as a little kid, always going to church every Sunday morning. My parents would wake me up. Hey, we're going to 8:30 mass. And so she begged me and told me, please take my son with you, because I do not want him to follow his older brother's footsteps.
This is the person who ended up getting shot, right? His brother?
His brother. His older brother.
Okay.
He was actually going to follow his brother's footsteps to get revenge.
Jeez.
He legit told me, Edgar.
He had a gun ready or what?
Not exactly, but he had the means to do it. He had somebody in mind who was an ex-gang member.
Who would do it for him.
Or they would pretty much
do it together.
Get together and pursue it, because that was his emptiness, that was his anger inside. And I told him, no, like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
you have two options. You want to end up like your brother? Yeah, you'll get your anger out, but you either get locked up or you're gonna end up like your brother. So choose your battles. But the mom was forever thankful that he decided to
change his life. And what exactly, since we were talking before the podcast, and then you've also told me in like years prior that I've known you, that you were a part of like I'm gonna let you mention it. Certain artists, famous artists, music videos. You're in their music videos. How did you end up making it in their music video? Like for, I don't know, anyone who wants to make it to a damn music video, how did you end up making that connection?
So it all started with a person. His name is Javier Gonzalez. He goes by El Tamarindo. A lot of people know this guy because he blew up. He started as a YouTube blogger. He would always be surrounded with artists. And so little did I know that he would write lyrics. So there's this one time where he starts writing this song or, lyrics to this song, and he passes it on to Regulo Caro, which is a cousin of the Ortiz family, Gerardo Ortiz, Kevin Ortiz, now Oscarito Ortiz, well, now Oscar Ortiz, before he was Oscarito. So then Regulo Caro reviews it and says, I like it, let's do it. They collab. Mind you, Javier Gonzalez lives in Arizona. And so he flies out to Cali, he lands in Burbank, and...
You picked them up or what?
Not exactly. But he lets me know. He said, hey, I know you're always supporting my channel. I like the way that you always give me positive vibes, like you root for me. And so I'm in Cali. This is something that's like a potential for development. I said, great, I'm glad to hear that. So he posts something. I don't recall if this time there was already Instagram or if it was like MySpace or Facebook. All I recall was like a story. And then he says, I'm looking for models and extras to be part of this music video. And they
hired you on the spot. They looked at you, they're like, oh.
I wish it was that easy, but somewhat, I should say. Little did I know that, he would tell me to come through. I took a few classes in high school for, I think it was drama and acting. And I thought,
they saw it. They're like, you qualify.
Very qualified. With my freaking 3 credits of whatever, So I just took a chance. I shot him a message. Hey, where is it going to be? He says, Arcadia. I'm like, whoa, Arcadia? I'm in North Hollywood. It's like a 25, 30-minute drive. I'll be there. Sends me the details. I get to the house, bro. Big old mansion. I was just like super shocked to see all this, right? Like nice cars. And mind you, at this time, Regulo Caro was under Dell Records. And so when I get there, I start to see other people that were part of, I don't know if it still goes by Dell Studios. So it leads to a producer, which sadly, he's no longer with us. His name was Omar Torres, which till this day, I really respect this man. And I owe a lot to him.
Could you say how he passed away, or is it like personal reasons?
No, so he passed away, I would say 3 to 5 years ago. Somehow the news broke out there in social media that he died in a car crash. So that was the end of him. But that night I got to meet this wonderful man. He introduced himself. He told me, what I was going to play a part in. And from there, he liked what he saw, said, wow, you're doing a great, phenomenal job. Here's my contact card. Hit me up for another video. I said, another video? So there's more to this, you know? And sure enough, I remember this one time, he also said, come to Linwood. I live in Linwood. Let's meet up at this restaurant.
Do they buy you food during these music videos? Like, they provide everything?
Yes. So they do hire a catering service. So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Although they don't pay certain models or extras, I should say, they still take care of you, you know. So
did they pay you, or they just took care of you, like food wise?
No, they just took care of me. And I told them, I said, look, Javier, I'm here as a kind-hearted person. I'm not here for money. I'm not here for anything. I'm giving you my time. I've always said, like, I think time is very valuable. I literally recall arriving around like 2 p.m. I didn't leave till like 2 a.m. of the next day.
Jeez, dude. 12 hours of nonstop. Action, go, the whole time.
Correct. Like, oh, we didn't like this. Oh, now someone interrupted. Or you didn't go with the flow. Just like you said, cut action, and it was redo until
you
finish. Correct. So I was beat, but at the same time,
you made good friendships and you connected, and that's where what led to the other music videos, right?
Correct.
And who are like the main people that you've worked with?
I mean, it just goes down to one single artist, which was Regulo Caro. I mean, we developed a pretty good relationship. I remember he introduced me to, or somebody in that,
in the scene,
yeah. So I would say total 3 to 4 videos with Regulo. But in one of them, I would say number 2, I did meet Noel Torres. I did meet Jesus Ojeda.
Okay, yeah, I know him.
And I believe one of the Ortiz brother, William Ortiz. And it was a great experience. Everyone was pretty friendly.
What about the biggest one, like that we were talking before the pod? Like, and I kind of wish that you didn't tell me, because it was like I didn't even know that you met the one and only Ariel Camacho. Like, and you're on stage with him. How were those moments with Ariel Camacho on stage? Like, especially now looking back at it, how he's influenced so many people, like Natael Cano, like influenced so many people. How have you, like, now looking back at it, the moment, like, how do you like cherish that moment?
Once again, I cherish it till this day. It's very unbelievable. Sometimes I feel like I'm dreaming, because that was the first and only time he was ever in Pico Rivera, or I should say in this side of town. Because most artists, they're always on tour.
Yeah.
Different states, different cities, and when are they going to come back? You pray.
A full year, maybe.
Possibly. I was going to say you pray and wish that they will come back. So if you miss the opportunity, then when, if it happens, you'll end up, going to another concert or venue. So once again, the reason I say the first and only time was because he's no longer with us.
Yeah.
So sadly, he also passed away in a car crash in Sinaloa.
Yeah.
But going back to that, it was the most amazing experience. I remember just going to El Rodeo in Pico Rivera.
And we'll put up like photos and like videos like that you'll send us, like a view up on stage, because there's probably people like, yeah, right, he was on stage with Ariel Camacho, so we'll like stamp it on the screen for them.
For sure, yeah. So yeah, going back to that, I just recall that he was also signed under Del Records. Del Records was, or still is, I don't know. I mean, now there's a lot of competition, right?
Yeah.
But at that time, if I recall, it was one of the biggest like record companies that was just signing any artist that was blowing up. And so Ariel Camacho was under Del Records, and I happened to meet certain people from
Del Records.
From Del Records, from the prior video shoots. So I remember just being there, and I said, you know what? Let me go buy them a round of buckets of beer. And that was it. Like, I saw somebody that I knew. As a matter of fact, it was Omar Torres. Now that I remember, that videographer, he was there recording, and they were just going to make a video out of it. Like, wow, this is the presentation of Ariel Camacho in Pico Rivera.
Wow.
And when I made eye contact with him, he said like, hey, like come over, whatever. I remember going to the bartender, just telling him, give me, I don't know, such amount of buckets with such beer, and here you go. Took him backstage. Everyone was super happy, very welcoming. And as a matter of fact, one other person that I mentioned to you was Beto Sierra. So Beto Sierra is one person that he's blown up so much nowadays. So Beto Sierra, he's come up. He's now doing a lot of like rapping too, like with these corridos bélicos, as they mention. That's how they refer to them. But going back to that, like once I was on stage, I was like, wow, this is the proper opportunity to snap pictures, to shoot, maybe get a shout out. And sure enough, I got my shout out.
Yeah.
So it was just unbelievable. I remember a lot of people in the crowd were like, hey, get me up there. I'm like, how? I'm fortunate to be here, like
you look like you're the only one on the stage aside from like the actual musicians. You're like the only one like from the crowd, right?
That is correct. Yeah. So all the Del Records, they were literally, there's a stairway that leads to up the stage. They were all aligned down the wall. And I don't know, like I just felt comfortable enough to
Walk over there.
Walk over and yeah, just tell the artist, hey.
Imagine security guard pulled you like, get the heck out.
No, like they knew I was with them somehow, and I would show the securities like, hey, I know them. So luckily everything turned out well. No one was cocky, no one was rude. And that was it. I do have footage too where the artist, the second vocalista, ends up giving me a shout out. And then Ariel Camacho, I have another clip. If I find it, I'll share it with you guys, obviously. But he does look over and he asks me, what song do you want me to sing? And I'm like, you're asking me out of your own staff and all the crowd, but why me? He's like, shoot it. And I remember telling him, I don't remember which one exactly, but he ended up going for it. And that was that night. And so sadly, I never got to see him again. Or
but dude, he inspired so many people, and we have like what we have now in corridos because he inspires so many people. Dude, talking about girls now, you're a single man, but you weren't at one point. What happened during that time? Like, was it a difficult patch for you?
It continues to be a rough patch.
Really?
I'm not gonna shy away from it or lie about it. The reason I say that is because I can reference or kind of bring it back to child abuse, right? How I mentioned. So it's like a child's wound. If you do something to that child's going to have like an inner child wound. So for instance, I'll bring a little bit about me, the fact that my dad was very tough on me and he was trying to obviously do the best for us, but sadly, to this day, I always say, like, you know what? We would have wished you were more with us, more around. Obviously, too. But I don't blame him. Like, I try to learn and kind of detach from all that past trauma, in a sense where he didn't know better, right? He would always look back to his parents, which are my grandparents. This is how I was raised. So then it's a chain.
Yeah, that's how I have to raise you. Yeah.
So correct. Yeah. So. Now, going towards the relationship, I've seen it so much in this department because we would see so many cases, DV, drug use. And I reference that because you get that person, whether it's male, female, believe it or not, you get comfortable. So you end up just dealing with that person for so many years or months. It's a vicious cycle. That's what I'm trying to say. So the minute someone treats you well, you start to think about it. Whether is this person just, trying to raid me, or are they just trying to...
No, but in simplest terms, like what exactly happened that triggered that emotion that even to this day has an effect on you, like in that relationship that you were. And if I remember, it was like a pretty lengthy relationship, right? It was like a few years.
Yeah, so you're right. That was, and I'll say it, that's been the longest I've been in a relationship, which was a little bit over 3 years. And I thought that was going to be the one. I would always question myself.
Did you propose?
I did.
Oh.
I did.
And how was that?
It was, I took a slight pause because it wasn't really, how could I put it, like a quote unquote normal propose. So proposing, it was not done the proper way. It was done hiddenly. Because going back to P.O. Chang's, this server was like, hey, I see you guys are kind of off. Like, you guys are not as talkative. Like, what's going on? And so...
On the spot?
No. It was more of like, she went to use the restroom, and so I was at the dinner table alone. And I still remember the server's name. Her name is Jocelyn. And it's funny because she would be very open with us, and she would tell us about her girlfriend, and so she started tearing, like her eyes got watery, and she's like, you're lying to me. I said, no, like literally we're not together anymore. She said, then why are you guys here? I said, because I'm stupid. I told her I'm stupid. Like, I legit see myself with this girl. I have no eyes for anybody else.
You want to just milk the relationship the most you could.
Exactly.
In simplest terms.
Correct. Like, I just wanted to be with her and just drag it on. When she came back from the restroom, then I went to the bar, and then the server met me over there, and I said, hey, I have a ring in my pocket. No one knows about this. And so do you think I should give it a shot? I feel that's my strategy to lock her in. She said, what are you doing? So if
she didn't agree.
She didn't agree. If it wasn't for her, I probably would have had a very rough moment.
Yeah.
Because she told me, Edgar, do you realize how many people are here? And I said, shoot, you're right. It's a full house.
Yeah.
She's going to probably walk away, or she's going to toss it in your face, or just make a big scene.
Yeah.
And so save yourself that embarrassment. Yeah. So if you still want to do it another day, but not here.
So you didn't end up pursuing it in that moment?
I didn't. So I went to the restroom, washed my hands, just kind of like cool down. And when I was coming back, I noticed...
How much was the ring? Sorry to cut you off. Do you remember the price of it?
It was close to 1,000. That's what I could recall. And I had, at least in that aspect, I was a little bit smart. Yeah. You know? And so the minute I'm coming back, I see the server talking to her. And I just kind of kindly waited patiently. And then she made eye contact with me. Server leaves, come back to the dinner table, whatever. We finalized our dinner. And I still mentioned her, like, are you sure that we're really done? And she said, yeah. So then this is where the proposing happens. We leave the premises and she tells me that her phone was dying. So I tell her, oh, I have one at my house. Like, I'm not a phone. Sorry, I have a cord. So she said, I'm not getting off. Like, I don't want to see your parents. She was very toxic. She hated my parents for whatever reason. Yeah. And so I said, okay. Still me being a kind gentleman. I grab my iPhone charger, hand it over to her. We're chilling in the car. And I tell her, close your eyes. I have something for you. And then she's like, what do you mean? And then I lean towards the back and I give her some roses. And then
so this is all planned out.
It's all planned out.
Whoa.
Yeah.
She didn't see the roses in the back or what?
She did not.
What the heck?
She actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she did Uber. Now I remember. She Ubered there. And then I was either going to take her home or just end up Ubering her back. Yeah. So that's why she didn't realize what was in my car. And so bottom line, when she sees them, she obviously admires them, whatever. But then I tell her, have something else. Yeah. So I told her, extend your hand. So she was kind of like hesitant, kind of scared, whatever. Bottom line, that's when I dig in my pocket and I hand it over to her.
You pulled it out.
And she says, what is this? I said, open your eyes. She was very speechless. She started crying, but I still give thanks to God that at least she was very honest with me. Although she was very...
She said yes or no?
She said no.
She said no?
She said no.
Wow.
Being teary, distraught, or whatever, at least she was very honest. And she said no.
Wow.
I don't recall the exact words, obviously, because it's been almost 10 years from this.
Wow.
So she said no. And she kept the ring.
No way.
That's the shittiest part.
No mames, dude. What the heck?
Yeah.
How did she keep the ring? She said no.
She said no, but thank you.
No.
I kid you not.
No.
She put it in her bag.
Give me her number. We're reaching out. We're reaching now and we're emailing her or whatever.
She got her Uber. And so like a month goes by and I'm working out of the office, right? And I had a laptop, whatever. And I'm obviously... You know me pretty much.
Dude, I still cannot believe she took the ring.
Yes, she did.
It's like she said yes, and then you guys were engaged for a while, or maybe married a year or two. But on the spot, she's like, no, but give me the damn ring, and I'm running off. Yeah. It just makes no sense.
I agree. But going back to that.
Yeah.
So I show up to her house. Mom was there. She was not home. And I legit told her, I'm here to get my shit.
Oh, you got the ring back.
I got it.
Oh,
we're good. Don't
you built the suspense.
No need to go after her.
Yeah.
Later, I found out that when the time she would ask me, hey, my friend so-and-so invited me to his birthday party. And I would say, why am I not invited? Why am I not included? There was something weird going on. So this is the guy she ended up with.
Really?
That was right. Your intuition never lies.
We were just talking about that yesterday. That's so weird. We were just talking about it. Maybe the producer can recap us.
We were talking about that the person that your significant other tells you not to worry about, most of the time, not all the time, you should worry about, basically.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. And in this case, it's the perfect example. Like, she's probably like, don't worry about him, he's just a friend.
That was a big lesson learned. So it's been 10 years that I've been solo, like just to myself. Do I date? Somewhat, but I don't feel like it's in my books. Like, oh, shoot, by 37 or by 38 or 40, I gotta
be married.
Like, no, I'm not in a rush. But I want to throw that as an awareness, right? Like, we were touching about this earlier, how I would see it more in males, right? You're brought up to be a tough man, to be macho, to just not show your emotions.
Yeah.
So this is where mental health is a big factor.
Yeah. With the, this relationship, what you learned from the relationship and the mental health, like how it affected you and how you're overcoming it and how you're how you're overcoming it. What's the day-to-day consist of?
It really consists of yourself. I always say this to my brother, and my brother.
Yeah.
I feel that being the oldest, you got to be an example, a good example, right? A role model. So I would say that regardless if it's my brother or my friends or people that I love or care for, or just anybody out there, honestly, I would say focus on you. Follow your heart, follow your intuition, because your gut feeling and your intuition is telling you something. If you feel that there's nothing that's flowing or going in the proper way or the proper direction, just get out. You gotta really learn to identify the red flags, as they say, right?
Exactly.
But it always starts with you. I always say this, like I was saying to my brother, no one's going to come here and, knock on your door and check on you. Like, hey, are you good? Do you need $100 or $500 for rent? Or, are you still breathing? At the end of the day, be your own cheerleader, but mental health is one of the main factors that should be noted and I guess awareness, and sorry, I failed to say about the males, right? Because we're, like I said, we're raised to just hide it, to not seek help. And that's the scary and sad part.
Yeah.
And so many years I felt like I was on my own, and so I took that leap of faith to, like I said, go to church and enroll into therapy. And it helps, quite honestly helps. Sadly, there's certain people that they need to find coping skills, and I was going to say the medication aspect, but that's why there's clinicians, there's help out there. But the main key is awareness.
Yeah.
Admit that there is something going on and you need to do something about it. You're not alone. A lot of people think maybe I'm the only one in this world that's going through this.
Yeah.
But until you start to open up or you go to therapy, you realize that your therapist is actually being there as guidance for other people that have the same situation or have gone through past traumas. So now to this point, I'm just to myself, I'm just okay. I remember my mom telling me this, why are you with her? Or asking me, like, ¿por qué estás con ella? Why are you with her? And I said, I fear of being alone. Tengo miedo de quedarme sola. And she looked at me like, what the heck? And mind you, I was in my mid-20s.
Yeah. Like
24 maybe. And she's like, mijo, you have so much along the way. You have a long journey. And I would just like, no, this is the one. This is the one. Yeah. And so I was wrong. Moms, no. Yeah. They have that sixth sense, and she was 100%. But going back to that, definitely now to this point, like where I'm at, I have learned to love myself, to care about myself, and I guess just be there for others, and that's the beauty about social work. Just really take care of others, but it also starts with you. It has to start with you. Yeah. If you're not healed, I remember somebody telling me this. I don't know if it was a therapist, a clinician, or somebody in my line of work. If you're not healed or you don't fix yourself, how are you going to fix others? How are you going to help others? And that was true. I remember that first year being in this department, I was so trapped in helping others. I would come home drained. All I wanted to do was eat and sleep. Yeah. And I was neglecting myself. So that's when I noticed that I possibly was not in the right path, meaning in the right occupation. So I shift gears. Now I'm 8 years in, and I'm happy. I'm to myself. I'm not scared to be alone, and I'm just waiting for the right person. When the time is right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I can speak on. It's just it was a good eye opener. You have to learn from it.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming on and sharing your little piece of your life with everyone here who's gonna watch. And before you go, like maybe you can give your like Instagram, whatever you want. So maybe ladies who maybe want to message you, whatever, or maybe Doce Corazones wants to book you for the show. What's your like Instagram tag if you want?
I'll share it with you. I'll provide a screenshot. It's a little bit complicated because there's so many underscores, and it's intentional because of my line of work. I don't want my prior clients to look for me. I'm very private, in that sense. So that's why I didn't touch a lot also on my occupation or like that line of work because it's very private.
Yeah.
But overall, thank you once again for having me over. I appreciate you.
Thank you. And peace.